Spread your legs out a little wider.
I'm going straight. Straight down the middle, right into the fairway, and on the green. What's up, boys? Welcome to Loopers for Life. This is Game 8. We are excited. We're going to recap Phil's historic win at the PGA Championship, Kiawah Island Resort. I'm here with my co-host, Joey, the host with the most, though, Teague Ridge of Talgary's Marketing and Media, which is powering Loopers for Life in this great studio. We're excited to be back for the second game in this studio, and Teague, cousin T-Rock on the block with all the picks. I mean, I can't wait to hear this week. And,
I got a good one for you this week.
Oh, do you? Tell me a little bit about our picks last week. Do you know anything about that yet?
Man, they did pretty well.
Well, we'll look into that. We'll discuss that when we get to fantasy. What do you know, Joe?
Are we millionaires yet?
Not yet.
No, we are far from it, brother.
Close though.
We're going to just, I mean.
How'd we miss on Phil?
Well, I'm just excited.
Because he's 50 years old.
I just can't believe that if I go back on my notes, and I mean, I'm notorious right here on Game 7. What were we talking about? Oh, my gosh, Phil Mickelson and his sponsor exemption into the U.S. Open that was granted the week before. And obviously, that had to be a huge jolt of confidence for him. I mean, it had to be.
Well, yeah, but look, there were signs that Phil was going to do well this week.
That he won on the Champions Tour? I mean, is that what kind of sign? Was it these?
Was it his 56th place finish?
Look.
It might have been these cool shades that Phil wears. I mean, these aviators.
I'm gonna give you guys the inside here on how you pick these guys. So I got people right that give me these picks.
Cousin T on a
but
yes,
the way that they get the picks, it's all about social media.
Right.
So you're following social media, you're following Instagram, you're following Twitter, you're seeing who's practicing, who's grinding. So to that point, right? So we could have seen Phil was grinding because it was all over social media. Right. He was ready.
No,
now,
there's no doubt.
There's one person you do not pick this week. Do you know who that is?
Phil Mickelson.
Yeah, because he's been nothing but lounging by the pool.
His actually, and to Teague's point, that is a great point because, I mean, all these guys are communicating through social media just like we do, and we got a lot of exciting news for Loopers for Life to come up in regards to our social media. But I will tell you this. I mean, his little morning motivations to where he's giving out formulas and doing his science, and C square equals HB HC, coffee and whatever he puts together, and hitting bombs and big calves,
activating the calves.
Activating the calves. That's what it was.
How about that message from his mom?
I haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen that?
Yeah,
no, I haven't.
Tell him to just hit fairways and not activate his.
She texted his sister,
Tina,
and when he was leading, she was like, "They're gonna catch him if he stops if he tries to activate his calves and he tries to hit bombs, they're gonna catch him."
Y'all gonna make me cry on right here. You're talking about his mom sending him that text to get to him, and while he was playing in the PGA.
Yes.
That's great.
She sent it to Tina,
That's
and
great.
then Tina was like, "I'll send it to Tim."
Well, let's start off with that tournament. I mean, Joey. I mean, you're a fan of Pete Dye. And I know you, I know that you respect all of his golf courses so much, and his design. This is by far Kiawah Golf Course.
Actually, it looked great.
It's the greatest Pete Dye golf course ever. Again, it's very, very hard, but very, very playable. And we saw that with birdies. And I did tell you these guys were going to make some birdies. Tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, I mean, it was an exciting tournament. I only caught the last 5 or 6 holes because I was out doing a bunch of other things.
But,
I mean, it was fun, and
I only catch majors on Sundays, anyways. I mean, I'm pretty much where when I was a golf professional, I was in the shop. I was watching TV all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, give me a
'cause
hot
you
dog,
got nothing else
give me a
better to do
hot
when you're in
dog,
the
give me a
shop.
Coke. I mean, you can see why I easily ballooned up to 225 at my greatest.
Yeah,
maybe 234. I don't
it was
know.
fun to watch. I mean, it was cool to see Phil win at 50, and I don't think it was as exciting as Jack's '86 Masters. But
I don't know. I disagree with that. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. I mean, that excitement coming down
8 million times on YouTube. So.
Well, Jack Nicklaus in '86 is huge. I mean, and that was we were kids, and that was when we were coming. All the crowds, the patrons. There's a difference between
patrons.
I
mean the crowds at Kia were way.
That was crazy. That is a hot topic in golf right now. PGA of America putting out the.
I don't think they needed to put that out. Look,
well, they did. I mean, here's the thing. They did. They actually, it was their championship. They failed. Their job is to make sure. They only failed on the
security issue of just putting somebody around.
Well,
I don't think you stop the crowds from doing that.
Well, you have got to stop the crowds. And where's the rope? Can they not get any rope? Now, I am a huge fan of what happened.
It's in short supply.
But, it was definitely a. And you could. It was a lack of player security, and in these days and times, you got to have that.
Yeah,
you got to have that. I mean, it's even in golf now. What is historic about that? And I was glad that happened at the same. You flip that quarter over, and I'm taking that. I love to see what happened with Phil Mickelson. That was very reminiscent of Tiger Woods, except for guess what? Tiger Woods was coming back after his knee injury, and nobody was going to get near him. Now they had rope.
Well, Tiger
over there.
has his own entourage following him,
right? Well,
Tiger provides his own security,
and that was the thing. I mean, because Tiger was coming back very, similar to the injury that Brooks Koepka's coming back from on his knee, surgery and all that. And there is no doubt he got lost in the mob. That was the fault of the PGA, the security.
Bryson put out a hit like
running.
Nancy Kerrigan.
So
man, that was somebody coming at him.
Let me tell you
knee.
something. I did get a text from somebody who was there, and this is, the War by the Shore, the Ryder Cup is what made Kiawah Island. I mean, there is no doubt that was the very first thing to put Kiawah on the map. It was their first major event, and basically Brooks Koepka was treated like a European on Sunday afternoon. He was definitely not a fan favorite. There was nobody there cheering for Brooks Koepka except for his caddy, his future wife, and himself, and and his entourage. Right. But I mean, it was definitely biased for Phil Mickelson, and it was something that I think all of America won it.
Yeah,
I think all of America won it. And now, have you been a Phil fan, Joey?
Here's my deal with Phil. I was a Phil fan when he was younger. I loved the fact that he just kind of seemed like a modest guy. And he still seems modest. But for some reason, I stopped being a Phil fan right around, probably 2000. But other than that, I'm still a Phil fan. I don't dislike him. I think it's great to see. But I was more of a Phil fan when he was younger.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
don't ask me why.
Because he came onto the scene hot. Yeah. I mean, from Arizona State University, and won at the TPC Waste Management, so to speak. It was
I remember
watching
Open
that as an amateur.
As I was buying
think he's still the last amateur that has won on the PGA Tour, and and his record is impeccable. I mean, he was in the World Golf Hall of Fame in 2012. Here's the greatest thing in looking back on his career. He's 50 years old. He just accomplished something that no other golfer has ever accomplished, but he has been on top of the leaderboards for 3 decades. I mean, and that is incredible. If you really, maybe 4 decades. I mean, it is 4 decades. Yeah. He spent 25 years in the top 50 in the world. Just fell out of ranking last year, and it was major news, right?
Right.
700 weeks in the top 10. 700 weeks in the top 10. Now, here's the interesting fact. Has he ever been number 1 player in the world?
No, I don't know.
He has not. No. You know why?
Because he played in Tiger.
He plays the Tiger.
Tiger Woods, y'all. We'll be talking about the GOAT as the U.S. Open returns back to Torrey Pines. And again, I'll go back to Phil Mickelson. What a historic moment because, he gets the sponsor's exemption into
U.S. Open.
Right, at Torrey Pines, his home course, to where really I feel, not only did, as much as he's lost some of the other championships, he wasn't in contention the last time,
right?
Because he put 2 drivers in. He was Phil being Phil, and this time he had he took his driver out of his bag.
Yeah,
is what he did.
Yeah,
he took his driver out of his bag.
A reminder for anybody standing around: do not go look for Phil's ball if he hits it somewhere. Remember that? That was at Torrey Pines.
How about? Let's not only that, but I mean, he did get a couple favorable rulings coming down the stretch right there. I mean, he hit one. Somebody picked up the ball on the side. I mean, who goes to a golf tournament, gets hit by a ball, and picks it up? And then, but his now he was laying up on that par 5 anyways. his lie definitely improved though, and
No doubt.
you know, and there was.
Wasn't there 2 balls picked up?
There
on the
was
weekend?
2 balls.
Somebody
And-
picked Koepka's ball up too, didn't they?
I believe they did, yes, sir. And I mean, you know, and Brooks Koepka. I mean, you know,
Okay, maybe we do need some crowd control. Maybe I'll take that back.
there was none. There was none. But you know, kind of going back. I mean, to Torrey Pines and that, and we would all love to see Phil Mickelson. I mean, you know, as being one of the only 12 players who's won 3 out of 4 majors, not having the U.S. Open, to join the ranks of the players that have won all 4 majors at Torrey Pines this year. Pull off some
How incredible.
dub.
How
I
good
mean,
would that be for
now
the game
that
of
would be
golf?
great for the game. Now here's the thing, you know, Phil Mickelson of 2021 hits bombs. You know,
does.
Phil Mickelson, the last time it was
What, he
at
had a
Torrey Pines,
300 and,
took his driver out of his
yeah.
bag. You grew up on this golf course,
Yeah.
bro. Come
Well,
on.
he's got nothing to lose now. The only reason to take the driver out of the bag now. I mean,
Well,
that was-
he's definitely
that
got
was many,
nothing
many
to
years ago.
lose. I mean,
he
he's
hit what, like a couple 366.
well. There's
Didn't he hit a
there was a
366
shot of
yard
the tournament right there. There was
Yeah.
a couple of shots that came in. I say that wasn't the one that defined the PGA Championship. You know, there's all kinds of shots in the game of golf,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you're playing 4 rounds of stroke play. You know, sometimes that great shot is on Friday afternoon to make the cut.
Or a putt to save par.
Yeah,
to
I
get
mean, you don't
going.
know
Yeah.
where it is really, but I mean, you know, ultimately, and this is something that, you know, I'm a big believer in, is that you put yourself in a position to hit quality shots on the last 9 holes of any golf tournament that you play in.
Yeah.
Last 9 holes. So, you know, all those shots that are accumulating up till then could have been the shot that won the tournament. We don't know.
No.
But to me, the hole out in the bunker on hole number 5, when Brooks Koepka just knocked it in there 15 feet
Yeah.
on that par 3, he knocks it in the bunker, second off the tee, takes off, right? I had to
Right.
leave right there and go to Home Depot to go get some kerosene and come
Hold
back.
on, wait a minute. What?
Kerosene.
Yeah,
What?
or
Yeah.
kerosene, propane, excuse me. Yeah, I mean,
hold
we
on.
still cooking with kerosene over here in Kentucky.
Cooking
I
with
mean,
mustard gas.
that's the way I do it over here. I'm from
So
Fern
wait a
Creek,
minute,
son.
honey. You had to stop in the middle of like a major championship.
Oh, well,
was this
I did.
your decision or the wives?
No, well, it was
Like-
mine. I mean, it needed to be done because we were going
grilling
to need steaks.
champion of the-
Let me tell you something. I mean, you know, this win was historic. I mean, we got out a fine bottle of wine afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, we celebrated everything that was right in the game of
I
golf.
think it's absolutely being on social media. The game of golf can't be any better right now. Just everybody, just oh, this is so great. I was so nervous watching Phil. I mean, it was basically like the '86 Masters.
Oh, it
with,
was no
you
doubt.
know,
Or Tiger Woods
or
winning.
Tiger Woods, yes.
I think not necessarily the Tiger Woods at the Masters, but the Tiger Woods at the Tour Championship.
Yes.
That's the Tiger Woods at the
Yeah.
Masters was a totally different thing.
I mean, it's fun to watch people get excited about golf again, and it's fun to have this rivalry between Brooks and
Oh,
DeChambeau.
well, we
I mean,
will
how
get into
about
that. Right. We will get into that. But going back to Phil,
Yeah.
that bunker shot on hole number 5.
That was a shot of the tournament.
Yes.
Right. It really was. And then going to the 16th hole to where it's a par 5 and Brooks hits one out there.
Yeah.
You know, Brooks hits one out there, 325, you know, Brooks Koepka style, just on his, you know, hey, I'm putting it into play.
Right.
And he missed so many putts this week. Yeah, but it was his first game back, you know, and I highlighted it, you know, last week, and I was like, hey, Brooks Koepka's back. You better watch out. This guy is on leaderboards at major championships.
Yes,
He almost made history himself.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. And again, we'll go to Brooks here in a minute, but you know that bomb that he hit on 16.
Oh.
Wow.
It was big.
Do you guys think Billy Walters had any money on this one?
Mufferville, Kentucky's own. Guess are you looking at my notes there, cousin T?
No, yeah,
Are
he-
you
he
looking at my?
he probably had the hit out with the crowd. That guy that was hugging hugging Phil at the end. Billy probably had a
Man, and Phil,
you know.
Phil's his boy.
That,
Yeah.
Oh, Phil is his boy. I mean, let's talk about that real
Yeah,
quick.
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
do 7
let's
years
go
in
with
jail.
hey, he will before he sold Phil out. Phil's
Dean's
career,
milk, baby.
and here's where I was going with this: career earnings updated now on the PGA Tour. Who leads? Tiger Woods, right? 120 million. Phil Mickelson is now 94 million career earnings. Next up is Jim Furyk, 71 million. Wow. DJ at 71 million, and then Vijay Singh at 71 million. Now, realistically, when you look at that, DJ probably has the best chance to overtake Tiger Woods
Absolutely.
as we move forward,
Absolutely.
right?
Sure he does.
But the interesting number is Phil at 94 million. That's only half the money that he made with Billy Walters. I mean, you know,
That's hilarious.
he had some plays that were making way more money, but that's
Hey,
another story.
We need to
don't wanna-
dive into Billy Walters because we got some
we
stories
can,
there.
oh no, we do not need
Not-
to
not
dive
today,
in. But let me
but
tell
at
you
some
something. I'm
point.
not diving in Billy
I
Walters.
almost went
I mean,
to work for Billy. His
there you go.
his brother-in-law was a member at South Park.
Is
Billy,
that right?
Billy Humphries, yeah.
Well, you would have
years
been-
ago. I was like, I got to get out of Louisville, Billy. He's like, I'll get you a job working for my brother-in-law out in Vegas.
Hey, you should have
But
been.
don't- But he said, don't up. I said, I better not go out there because
You should have went. I mean, because you could have caddied that. I mean, you would have been all the way through. I mean, we are not talking about Billy Walters. I'm just
We will
going on
one day.
record. I don't
We
want to
will
say
one day.
anything about that,
Oh, Billy's great.
especially
Billy's a
on
great
this.
guy.
But $94 million and just
Yeah.
the career earnings and everything that he's done for the game. I mean, it is without a doubt great to see Phil Alfred Mickelson come back. Win at 50, be inspired to come and just play golf. I mean, think about all the exemptions that he's gained, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be playing in every major for the next 5 years.
I think he can win again. I think he'll contend at the U.S. Open. I think he'll contend at the U.S. Open.
Oh, there's no doubt he contends at the U.S. Open this year. There's no doubt. Teague, what do you think about that? I mean,
I don't know. I think the U.S. Open's not the golf course for him. I think it's going to be
think
set.
it is this year.
I think it's going to be
Dropping
set up.
bombs.
We'll see.
Dropping
we'll
bombs.
see. I don't know, man. Look, I think he's going to be riding such a high right now. I don't know. Again, like I said, there's one guy you don't play this week, and it's Phil. And we'll see.
you know what would be great?
Oh, definitely don't play Phil this week.
No,
That would
no,
be the
I don't.
dumbest
Even,
bet
is he
in the world.
playing? I don't think he's
He may
playing.
not be
He's
playing.
not playing. He's not in the field. You know what would be great?
Call Billy
though?
Walters, though. You can make your bet.
No, trust me, Billy's not taking bets at anybody,
No.
but he's got somebody that does. What would be great is for Phil Mickelson now, and this is hard in the schedule, and I doubt he does it, but Phil has always been one of the guys that has played tournaments before major champions to get ready. Mm-hmm. And, he was like most of the guys in the top 10 in the history of the game have taken a week off before the major championship to refuel, refresh, go there to the prep site, blah, blah, blah. Phil always played in competition the week before. I think that was a great idea. Now, here's what would be great if he played the Champions Tour.
Oh,
Play a Champions Tour event right beforehand.
Be like cheating.
It would be like cheating, but at the same time, it's a 3-day golf tournament. You're 50 years old. You're the
Get to ride in a
marquee
cart,
player
don't you?
now, the Champions Tour, and you're coming in off a major championship on the Big Boys Tour. I don't know what golf course is there. We would have to be similar to the setup that's going to be at Torrey Pines. Now, again, I'll go back to, as we get closer to the U.S. Open, we'll talk about his history at Torrey Pines, but I just think that would be great. I mean, the game of golf has been winning, and so
it's doing great right
that's
now.
that's the same
Phil
thing.
is in the field this week.
Well-
he's in the field, but I bet he
Is he
withdraws.
really?
I bet he withdraws.
Well,
There's no way he plays.
yeah, I couldn't either. Well, here's some other
He's
news.
playing, man. He's
he
in
say
the
he was
field.
playing?
Yeah, he's in it.
I love it. He's won here at this golf course at Colonial
Yeah.
Country Club. I mean, I believe he's won twice on this.
You think
on
he's
this
trying to
golf-
make a Ryder Cup?
Oh, well,
run?
he's definitely going to make a Ryder Cup run. I mean, right now he is quickly moved up the ranking boards. He is number 16 in Ryder Cup standings. I don't know how you don't win a major on the calendar year of a Ryder Cup and not be on the team.
Should
so he's
automatically
on the
put you
team.
on the Ryder
Yeah,
Cup.
No,
he's
was-
got to be a captain.
So he came, even if he's not inside the top 8, he would have been a captain's pick. Especially if he's playing well. Now, winning this, I mean, that just puts him on another level. He's on the team.
Yeah.
And that's interesting right now because there's going to be a lot of shakeout for those first 8 players on the Ryder Cup team. This is going to be held at another Pete Dye golf course. Where is it at? Whistling Straits.
Yes.
One of the great golf courses in America up on Lake Michigan, I believe.
Yes.
And fantastic links. So, I mean, the Europeans should have some sort of advantage just for the feel of the golf course. But anyways, let's go back.
Oh, he moved up 36 spots.
36 spots he did. Phil Mickelson. He's 16th in the ranking right now. DJ, Bryson. Oh, Bryson. Guess who's right behind you? Justin Thomas.
Yeah.
And then your buddy Brooks Koepka.
Yeah, they're not pairing those
and
two
then,
together.
Colin Montgomery, Xander Schauffele, Patrick Reed, Captain America, that nobody wants on the team, but I mean he'd be a perfect partner for Bryson DeChambeau, I believe. And then you also have Tony Finau at the 8th spot right now.
Shoffley,
Now,
6.
Yes, Shoffley's at 6. So you got Jordan Spieth lurking in the back. Webb Simpson, Daniel Berger, who's the defending champion at this coming week. I mean, at Colonial Country Club. So that list is there. Now let's talk about the European list because the Euros actually, in some of our picks last week, you had Shane Lowry made the cut. He was at the top half of the board. I believe what was your pick of the Euro pick, Teague? You remember that? I know I had on the European side. I can't even remember who I had. Hold up, time out. Who did I have? Oh, yeah. John Rahm and Martin Laird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I
I
mean,
think there was
both
one
those
there.
guys
both
were in
picked
the,
Martin Laird. didn't
yeah,
they?
both of those guys were in the top 20. So I mean, if you look at
about
that, here's where it's at though, and this team is going to be captained by a guy who was in the top 5 at the PGA Championship, who's an Irishman, Padraig Harrington,
Yes.
a former PGA Championship. I mean, this was a resurrection leaderboard. I mean, there was outside of the big names of Brooks Koepka and some of the younger ones. It was Phil Mickelson,
Yeah.
and then Padraig Harrington, Louis Oosthuizen. I mean, you had a lot of the guys that were.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been that way all year.
But listen to their team. I mean, they're top 8. John Rahm, Danny Willett, Victor Perez, Matt Southgate. Tell me who that is. Yeah. Rafael Cabrera, Paul Warning. I mean, here's a
Paul
warning.
Horning? Paul Horning's playing golf.
Joakim Lager, and all their big names are not on there yet. Like Rory McIlroy stands 11th, Justin Rose 10th, Paul Casey, who played well
Yes.
at the PGA Championship. I mean, in contention really through 3 rounds anyways.
Yeah.
Played well. Shane Lowry, they set it 12th and 20th respectively. I mean, it should be one of those things that we really just dominate, but should is a big word and you probably shouldn't use it, and this is the Ryder Cup, bro. And I'm excited. I mean, that's coming up.
That's
all
like the most
majors that lead
no-name
into
bunch of guys I've ever heard.
One last thing on the PGA, and I would like to ask both of y'all: do you like it in the rotation now? Is it good?
Keela in the
is it
rotation?
good? No. Is it
Or
good?
in the rotation of
Masters,
time?
Masters,
No.
PGA Championship.
No, I don't.
U.S. Open, and then the British.
I don't like it.
No, I like the
I
better
like
at the end of
it.
the
I
year.
like it. I think it. It goes back to some of the historical times where they moved it and it was in the rotation at the right spot, so it was easy to kind of do. They sold everybody in America on the season's last major, and
That's what I'm getting at. That's what I remember.
right, and I respected that too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really did. I mean, because those are the guys that have just been grinding all
So
the way
basically,
through.
the British Open's what, in July?
July,
Or
mid-July,
the Open Championship.
The Open
is
Championship.
in
Yeah,
July.
I called it.
So
the
we've
British
got
Open,
so
too.
we've got nothing until.
No, we got the U.S. Open.
U.S. Opens.
Well, no, I mean we got U.S. Open and then the Open Championship, but we got nothing in August.
Oh, right. Well, they did all this for the FedEx Cup point standings. And guess what?
Yeah.
You want to know who's in the FedEx Cup point standings?
I would say
No, nobody wants to know. I mean, who cares,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah,
mean, I think
nobody's
that
following
nobody
that.
follows that. I mean, they always the standings, and we'll talk about that at another show.
Yeah.
But they moved that for TV. I mean, and for
Well,
football,
everything's
college
done for
football.
money. Everything's
I mean,
done for
the
money.
PGA
That's just-
Championship was competing right against, the college football. But it was also, too, the Olympics came into play. Ryder Cups came into play. A lot of players were, playing in the PGA
But
Championship,
listen, the
and then
PGA
2
is
weeks
never gonna
later
be-
competing in a Ryder Cup or a President's Cup.
right.
And
But the PGA is never going to be the U.S. Open. It's never going to be the Open. It's never going to be the Masters. So it needs to be just look. I know they're trying to get it's for money, but look, just put it back in August, in my opinion.
Look, there was 2 big storylines here, 3 big storylines. Phil winning.
Yes.
I think the Brooks Koepka DeChambeau is a storyline.
We
But
need to talk about that.
Here's the
Yes.
other storyline I really want to hear your all's opinion on: the anger. There was a lot of anger. There was a lot of guys breaking clubs, throwing clubs, breaking tee markers, complaining about the course. More so than you normally see.
Yeah,
Pete
this
Dye will
is-
do that to you.
But you've probably seen him many times up there.
Yeah, I mean,
we've
yeah,
seen
yeah.
what you've seen
Yeah.
up there at French Lick. I don't know if I've ever want to see that again. But yeah, I mean, Teague, that's a great point, and I think that is something that is lost.
I love it.
All right, no, hang on.
Well, and what I mean by that is, it's just there was probably a lot more of it, and there was certain people notorious to be that guy. Thunderbolt, and I'm thinking about Tommy Bolt. I mean,
Yeah.
Thunderbolt Lightning.
Hold
he
on,
would
hold
break
on.
clubs back in the 50s, back in the day.
Josh, all right, you are an instructor of kind of our next generation of golfers. So my son is watching golf, and he can't help but see all the cuss words.
Right.
He can't help but seeing the guy break the tee markers and break his clubs and throwing. As we're trying to bring new generation of golfers up, and this is what they're seeing.
Right.
This is what they're going to go do because they're seeing the best guys in the world do it. I want your take on that.
Well, my point is they're seeing the best guys in the world do that in every sport that's played in America, period.
And not only
Period.
that, but this-
Baseball, golf,
yes.
Football, you don't see as much because we want that in football, but
Yeah.
every sport in America. Now, where it really hurts is that golf has held its standards
Right.
on
Right.
being a gentleman's game.
But let's
being
face
that.
it, golf has always had this. They just
Right.
kept it under wraps.
Well, nobody knew about
Okay,
it. Nobody
nobody knew
had
about it.
Twitter or anything
There
like
have
that.
been guys throwing clubs, cussing, doing all this stuff for years.
Man, I mean,
and I love the way the PGA and the USGA is trying to protect their image and everything. But at some point, look, I don't want to go to the golf course and I don't want to see guys throw
Right.
clubs. Okay, I don't want to see.
Well, especially a PGA or a USGA guy.
But
I mean,
at the
you know,
same time-
we've had stories about that before.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
But at the same time, listen, it's human nature.
Well, I think that wasn't human nature. That was a temper tamper.
Well,
I
the guy
and-
breaking the tee.
Yeah, well, that guy
That
on
was
that tee
stupid.
marker. I mean, that was
he
terrible.
almost
And
killed
to
somebody.
my point, I mean, you know,
His
when
the caddy.
Almost decapitated him.
right. I mean, you know, and when the kids see
But
this,
see, I think
and it's coming
at a
through,
point,
it's terrible.
like, if I'm the caddy in that group, I'm just gonna call a guy out right there. I don't give a crap about him. Something you stupid. I mean, you know.
Whoa, dude, is this not? This was a family show. This is
We're
like
gonna have to change.
This is we gotta go.
That's number 2 here. So we're gonna have to change our rating on the.
Yeah, we're gonna. I know it, dude. I mean, that is like the third F bomb of the day. But I mean, you know, it's spoken like a true
listen,
looper.
was-
I mean, you
was-
know, that's
was-
what a looper does.
That wasn't the guy's caddy, right?
No,
It was
it-
somebody else's caddy, right?
No, it was his caddy.
was his
Wasn't it
caddy?
Teague?
No.
No,
It
somebody
was
else's, 'cause the handshake at the
It was
end
Van
was-
Ruin, and he almost killed Wallace's
Yeah.
caddy.
I'm taking the guy's knee out.
Was it? It was another caddy.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
another.
I
And
mean,
he was
you know,
pissed.
you
And
don't-
he wouldn't shake his hand at the end. He
Well,
was
there
mad.
was-
And
I
he
mean-
actually did. He turned his head though after he shook his hand. He turned his head.
Well, that was
Well, and then
definitely uncalled for.
part of so when he shattered that tee marker, a piece of it went into a spectator's eye.
Yeah, that's uncalled.
Time to
I mean,
get
that's-
paid.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, let's talk about
Call the heavy
it's
hitter.
Terrible.
There'll be
And
a
I mean,
sign
you
up
know,
on 64. If
John-
you've been damaged by a T marker, call the heavy hitter.
John Rahm destroyed a microphone. I mean,
Oh, I
look,
didn't know that one.
It's just it's not. It was a bad look this week. It was more this week than normal.
John Rahm did.
Yeah.
I did not.
Hey,
see
look,
that.
have you seen Tommy's honor, man? They fighting bunkers, man. Come on.
That is a great movie, and I have not seen it. I want to see it, and,
mean-
like I have everybody that has seen it was like, I can't believe you haven't seen Tommy's
Yeah.
Honor, Josh.
Like,
'cause that's
I
my
am-
era right there.
I'm
And
between-
I gotta watch that.
Like, I don't think golf should be this elitist, like, we're too good for you sport, but I don't think it should be the MMA. Okay?
This is coming from my MMA range attendant right there. I mean, there's
somehow I knew that.
Wait a
story
minute.
was
Well,
gonna
let's
come
not
up.
talk about
Yeah.
that story.
Let me tell you what I'm hearing both of you guys say is look, everybody else is doing it. It's okay.
No, I
No,
don't
no,
agree with that.
yeah,
No,
that's not
no,
what
no,
you're
no,
hearing
no.
me say.
No.
I mean, it's terrible. I would if one of my students, going back to your son, who I've been fortunate to coach, one of my students, if I ever saw that, they would not be my student afterwards. They
No, I would have a talk with them. I
and I mean,
wouldn't
and I pull
diss
little
them as a
kids off
student.
that
I
have
just-
that.
yeah.
They come from the baseball field. They come from all these other sports. I'm like, hey, you can't do that in golf. And you know, and I try to do that at 10 years old or younger, and they learn that lesson very quickly, when they're with me. But to say that it's a first time incident or a latest
yeah.
fad,
Oh,
I mean,
no. I agree with
it's
that.
been
Yeah.
going on forever.
Yeah.
We've seen it at the club level. We've seen it at the looping level. I mean, you actually see it. But let's go to MMA. Let's talk about Brooks Koepka
Yeah.
and Bryson DeChambeau. What do you know?
Well,
Who you got? Who you got?
okay.
Brooks Koepka or Bryson?
Oh, no.
Who you got?
Koepka's whipping Bryson.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Huh?
for sure.
Bryson, dude, he can't stop, won't stop, man. You
I
didn't
mean, it
see
takes
that
too
little
long to make
flex out?
takes it too long to make a decision. He'd have
Man.
to calculate everything. Like, is this punch good? What's the velocity of this punch? Like, come on.
Did
man.
you all see his
But-
response? All right, now
Yeah.
obviously we're talking about that's all over social media.
Yeah.
Been pulled down from social media.
Been pulled down from social media.
Well, you can still
Some-
find
yeah,
it.
yeah,
but where he
definitely.
rolled his eyes and then
Yeah.
made some choice comments. Now, was it because he said something, or was it because of the spikes?
Everybody that I read on social media actually said that, as he was talking about reading putts, that DeChambeau said in the background, maybe something. Don't quote me on this exactly, but it was something like, "You need to hit it on line if you want to make it," or something.
Maybe he said that. I don't
couldn't
know.
hear it.
I just heard the spikes.
I've listened to it.
I heard the spikes.
I
for
heard
sure.
the
listened
spikes.
to it
I
with
think it was
headphones
more
on
of the
several times.
spikes.
Yeah.
But I can.
I think it was just more just DeChambeau. I don't think it had.
Yeah, well, he walked
First
right
of all,
behind him.
he acted like a little child, but it was funny.
I don't think he
Okay.
did. I think
And-
he was just like, man,
and
I wanna
something
whoop
had
that
to been
dude's-
said. But look, I think the thing is, somewhat good for golf and bad for golf at the same time because it makes both of them look like total douchebags. But at the same time, it's kind of like
we need to have it. I mean, you just
like,
can't have that on
no.
the American team. You got to have that team chemistry.
The reason I think it spikes, DeChambeau responded on Twitter saying, you can fix spike marks now.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
That
Now,
was his response. And then he put up a video of him lifting a bunch of weights.
Wait a
Right.
minute. And his form was so wrong. Like the guy's going to hurt himself.
Well, it was. Oh yeah, I know, and that's the worst piece. That is. Speaking of which,
if you're lifting weights, do not watch that.
what happened to Tiger
You're gonna
Woods?
hurt
What
yourself.
happened to Tiger Woods? We will talk about that
But-
as we approach Torrey Pines because I think it's really valuable information for anybody that's listening to our podcast at this point in time after Teague does all of our productions
Yep.
to drop off all the F-bombs that Joey throws
Yeah, I'm
out.
gonna-
But I
Are
mean,
you going to have to edit that?
Yeah, I'm going to have to get the beeps out.
but hey, we're trying to get on Apple here, bro.
Oh, okay.
But,
All right. Just-
all right. So, hey,
all right.
but Tiger tore his body up working out. There is no
Yeah.
doubt that he created the phase.
I think a little bit of his
and I
swing
think
tore his body
Maybe
up.
a little bit of his swing, but Bryson DeChambeau moving on and what he's doing. I mean, that was bad form. I agree.
Right.
I mean, can't stop, won't stop. Do it right, bro.
Yeah.
That is not TPI done right. So
But I think the whole thing is great to have that little rivalry. Now I think
Yeah, it's good for
obviously
golf.
it's got to play on the board. Though.
Brooks looked like a douche rolling his eyes, and DeChambeau. I think DeChambeau would be more likable if he'd stop wearing that hat.
I'm okay with.
But because whenever he's got just a
Come
regular
on
ball
now.
cap on, I'm like, this guy
Time,
looks pretty
time.
cool. Look, I know why he wears it.
Time.
I know why he wears
Ben
it.
Hogan's coming,
no, it's,
bro.
It's
I mean,
Payne Stewart's the reason why he wears it.
He might
but-
be, but Ben Hogan week is.
But it
this
only
week
worked
on the
with
PGA Tour.
it
We're
only
about ready to
worked
start
with Ben
talking
Hogan.
about Hogan Alley.
But
Well,
I think there just needs to be like
I just think the
they
greatest,
need to be paired together in the next freaking tournament.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
Well, yeah, and not only they don't need to be paired together. They need to be paired together on the back nine of a big tournament.
Oh,
If
well,
they're both
and
in
that's
it.
yeah,
They're
that's,
going- they're
that's
gonna have to
where-
play well to do
That's
that.
where it's going to be
Yeah.
like seen. I mean, with them being paired together and nobody.
No, I hope
On
they're
a
on
Thursday,
the leaderboard.
it's not gonna matter.
No,
Right.
I hope they're on the leaderboard. I hope they're playing together this weekend at Colonial. I hope they're coming up, walking different sides of the fairway. Look, there's been rivalries and people who didn't like each other on the tour for years.
Oh, right,
We just
right.
didn't get to see it.
right.
I mean,
It's probably been notorious.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
it's,
absolutely.
you
I mean-
know who you're getting paired with, and this rivalry.
you
goes
think
back.
people like Tom
Well,
Weiskopf? I mean,
this
you think
rivalry
people are
goes
like,
back
oh, yeah,
to a major championship.
Yeah.
I mean, where Brooks was behind Bryson, and
Yeah,
Bryson
slow
was
play.
it's slow play, and afterwards he
Oh,
went
yeah.
up there and he said, "Hey, man, you got to be able to blah blah blah," and Bryson just pretty much told him to go off, and then what Bryson do? He went up and got swole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's anything we need to
it was
discuss,
it was that winter that he got swole to go drop bombs
Yeah.
himself and redefine the golf game because Brooks was already dropping those bombs casually.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's weird that that incident spurred a lot of things for Bryson, and and now we're into this like little rivalry thing.
yeah.
And we need to see it play out on American
Oh
leaderboards.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
as long
without
as it
doubt.
does, as long as it brings people into the game of golf, as long as it doesn't bring this stuff to the local level where, we got
Well,
to
it would-
we got to
you know
deal
what
with
it
these
was-
douchebags on the local level.
Hey, and I'm going to go ahead and permit the D-bag word to be used. I mean, because
Are
that
we allowed
is
to use D-bag?
well, it's not F-rated. I mean,
Okay.
it's D-rated. So
I know you're
going
gonna have to bleep out. Don't
We're gonna
just bleep
we'll
out.
start bleeping. You create more work for my
There's
productions.
There's two different categories here. You have your categories of like your adults, and then you have your safe for everybody to listen to category. We've crossed thresholds here.
That's where we're gonna. I mean,
Well,
again,
once
when you're a
Josh
looper-
asked me to be co-host, we
Well,
crossed
that
that
is true. I mean, when we are loopers, I was looking for looper and saltiness, and I got it from a current caddy. So let's talk about the PGA Tour. I tell you what, going back to that one, Billy Walters could make some money. Make that happen, Billy. Let's see the Bryson versus Brooks MMA fight.
Actually, I think Barstool Sports could throw something.
They
together
might be
here.
able to. Well, there would be all kinds of memes on it.
That
All
would
right.
be a good
Let's go to the PGA Tour. Let's go to the fantasy golf. Let's talk about this upcoming week at Colonial Country Club Historic, the Charles Schwab Invitation, or whatever they call
Yeah,
it. But I mean,
challenge.
it's
Like, what a dumb
I mean,
name.
the
Charles
names
Schwab
nowadays
Challenge.
are terrible.
Yeah.
But this golf course is one of the most historic golf courses on the PGA Tour. Its list of champions are synonymous with major champions.
Yeah.
I mean, you are a quality shot maker when you win here, and a lot of times you'll see players get their first win here and go on to get their majors as they go through. And another great thing is this golf course has huge ties to Kentucky golf. Huge ties. Name me a name who's won there.
Oh man, Kenny Perry won there. Isn't he?
Kenny Perry won twice. He
Twice.
has the scoring record
Yes.
of this tournament, and it
Kenny
was
Perry.
the year in 2003, and we'll talk about that as a historic moment in the game of golf very quickly here. But also, too, Fuzzy Zoeller, 1981. Fuzzy always played well here on this golf
Nice.
course. He was always, why? Because it's a shot maker's course. Fuzzy knew how to be a shot maker. He could work it both ways. That was back in the days of Bellata and everything. And it has been some, again, it has been a very historic golf course. It was first played here in 1946. They held the 1941 U.S. Open as one of the first
Wow, I didn't know they had a US Open there.
one of the first U.S. Opens to ever be hosted
West
south of the Mason-Dixon
Right.
line. So it was the first one that was ever in the South. And, and looking at it, this is the first golf course in the state of Texas that had bent grass greens. They were Bermuda back then, and the
Right.
golf course, when they built this golf course, said, we are building bent grass greens. And that was a big thing. It was designed by Perry Maxwell. And
Who designed?
designed everything. I
Yes.
mean, he was a Midwestern. Perry Maxwell is a Midwestern Alistair McKenzie. I mean, you don't know who Perry
No.
Maxwell is because a lot of tournaments aren't played on his golf courses because they're in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But, he is an historic architect. One of the best. I've never played one of his golf courses,
I
but
think I
Perry
have. I'm
Dunes,
trying to think
Perry
where.
Dunes is like probably his most notorious one. It's in Kansas or
Yeah.
Oklahoma or something. But anyways, this is basically Ben Hogan's tournament. I mean, this is Hogan's Alley. This is where Ben Hogan was famous for winning not only
Yeah.
the 1946, the first time it was there, as the Colonial Invitational, where he came back and he was not leading at any point of the tournament. And think about this, being a Dallas guy, being notorious for great golf at that point in time, didn't lead at any point in the tournament until the final day, and he shot a course record 65.
Nice.
So I mean,
what other
it's
tournament can you
won
win?
it 5
And-
times.
yeah.
Won it 5
5
times here.
times.
5 times in his home city and kind of his home track, and it ended up being like his tournament. And last year they gained they gained some publicity for sure for the game of golf, as they were the first tournament that was played post COVID.
Yeah.
Won by Daniel Berger, and so it was
Daniel
no
Berger,
fans, and I mean, and kind of going back to the whole fans swarming everybody at Phil and
Get to
Brooks
win you
and
a
all
jacket
that.
that looks like a saddle cover. For
Yeah, I
horse.
like that.
I
They
do
always
too,
say that's the other
actually.
thing that I've always liked about this. Is
I like the jacket.
the jacket. I mean,
Yeah.
you only get a few jackets on the tour. This is one of them. Obviously, the
Green jacket.
Well, the green jacket's like most coveted, but you get the
Who else
plaid
gives
jacket
jackets?
over at Hilton Head the next week. They give you a jacket,
Oh,
the
do they
plaid
really?
jacket over at Hilton Head, and so you
and
get
then there's
one
the
that
gold
week.
jacket
There's
for
a
winning.
gold somewhere.
Oh well,
That's for the Happy Gilmore.
well, the gold jacket is the tour championship.
That's Happy Gilmore.
You better believe that. I mean, everybody plays for the gold jacket.
Running with the jacket.
There's nothing better than the gold
Come back
jacket.
here with Happy's jacket.
But this is a, like I said, a historic golf course. It's a very challenging golf course. It's always in the top 10 on the annual rankings of the PGA Tour. It has multiple dog legs going right, left.
Yeah.
It's kind of a dog park. You know what a dog park is?
yeah.
You got
Yeah.
right, left,
Yeah,
right, and left.
right, left.
I had some kid
Dog
ask
leg.
me, he was like, "Is this a dog park golf course?" I was like, "What?"
Dog park.
And I was like, he was like, "Is this golf course a dog park?" And I was like, no, it was a goat ranch. And he was like, no, it's got dog legs on it. And I was like,
Well, we got goats and dogs. we got them
it
both.
threw me for a loop.
Depends on where you're playing.
I want to say one other thing about this before we talk about our fantasy picks. 2003, historic moment in the game of golf, going back to Kenny Perry's 19 under par. Annika Sorenstein teed it up
Yeah,
in
she
this
teed it up,
tournament.
yes.
And she was the first lady that has played in 58 years on the PGA Tour since one of the famous Texans, Babes Ariel.
Babes.
Yeah, and you notice how I went away from the mic when I pronounced her
Yeah.
name. I went,
It's a Harris.
Nobody
Babe
can mumble
Harris.
it.
but I mean, I think that this, what she did that year.
Who's
in-
the only guy to win on the LPGA Tour?
What?
There's been a guy who went on the LPGA
No, there
Tour. Do you know?
hasn't.
Yes, I wouldn't.
You're
lie about
correct.
this.
Huh?
Sam Snead won an LPGA tournament.
LPGA tour. You're
Yes.
saying the Slammer played in the LPGA tournament. Oh my gosh,
up,
we're going to
baby.
go get that.
Look it
looked
up,
at.
baby.
But Annika, what she did that year was great for the game of golf. I mean, she was in her prime. She was the #1 player in the world. She was
Yeah.
it for women's golf, and,
And
really,
she's actually back playing.
yeah,
Which
it
nice.
is. It is nice to see her play. And I mean, and I think that that inspired all the girls that came from coming up. And I mean, Michelle Wee was a perfect example because
Yeah.
Michelle then tried to do the Annika route, but she wasn't yet a professional, and she made a mistake.
Yeah.
And if she would have stayed in the amateur and dominated the women's game and then make that jump, she could probably go out there and play. I mean, she hits it far enough to do that,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And the game of golf, I mean, as proven this past weekend with Phil winning at 50, the game of golf does not care how old you
That
are.
ball don't care how old
No, it doesn't care how you
you are.
feel.
It doesn't care about a thing.
All you got to do is just put that ball into the hole. Go home, ball.
Go home. Go to your home.
Go to your home,
Go to
ball.
your
Get
home.
that gold
Don't you
jacket.
like your home?
But I just remember that as like just being great. And how many people, the crowd around her hitting that tee shot in 2003.
God, how nervous.
Yeah,
How nervous.
There again, I was
And
in.
she said, I think she's quoted somewhere saying that was the most nervous she.
Well, that
ever
was
been in
back
her
when I
life.
would watch golf on Thursday
Had
because
she
I
shot
was
the
in the
59
PGA shop.
before that or after that?
She shot 59 after that.
After that?
I believe it was after that. So, but this golf course this week. I mean, let's
Yeah.
get to the fantasy golf, and I mean, and some power plays this week. If you haven't been keeping track with us, cousin T Rock on the block right here.
He will make you richer.
He
than
will make
Billy
you
Walters.
rich, but I mean,
And
this
some insider
there's a
trading,
guy over
baby.
here. There's a guy over here wearing these Philly mix.
Yeah.
He ain't been doing too bad himself.
That's
this
right.
guy right here. I've been up
Well,
on
you-
top of that leaderboard,
I
and
mean,
I'm
you take
excited this
you
week.
take 15 guys every time, so
That's not true. That's not. I dropped.
Yeah, I
I
think you
name
picked the
drop
whole
a couple.
field. I think you picked the whole field
No,
last week.
I just name drop a couple.
Everybody
and then
but
I,
Nicholson.
then I
You
bring
left
it
Nicholson
in.
off. Your
yeah.
We didn't even talk about you, Phil, about Alfred.
All right, who's
Sorry.
going first this week?
Yeah, go ahead,
You want me
Joey.
to go first? All right. Here's who I got. And there's method to Tig's madness. There's absolutely no method to my madness except I show up here, I roll who's in the field, and I just pick. So I've got Jason Duffner. I think Jason Duffner's going to win a tournament this year, whether
Played
it's
well
Colonial
at the
or not.
PGA Championship. He's a shot maker,
Well,
so that's
I think he's going to win.
That's a good pick.
Now, whether or not he's going to win a Colonial, I don't know, but he will win a tournament this year.
Yeah, you can get
Mark
him
my word
cheap.
on it.
He's way down the
and
list.
you're going to get him cheap. So this is why I'm picking who I'm picking. It's all based on economics and how cheap I can get these guys.
There you go.
Or how cheap you can get them.
Yeah,
because-
well, you're a cheap guy
Yeah,
anyway,
well,
so I mean,
yeah,
we know that about you, bro. That is notorious. You're only cheap. You're not cheap when you're trying to get those tips at the end of the loop.
All right, so I got Patrick Rogers. Going to throw this guy out there.
Good
And,
name. Good name.
He played well, a few weeks ago, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I don't
I mean,
know who Patrick Rogers is,
He's
but
some
yeah, he
dude
played
from
well
Indiana.
a few weeks.
He's from Indiana.
he's
somewhere. I don't know.
another cheap one.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
there
you're
you
going to
go.
get this guy cheap. Jimmy Walker, who
Former PGA champion.
former PGA champion. Probably get this guy cheap too.
Yeah, you probably will.
And then I'm going to throw a guy out there you may not be able to get for cheap. But Jordan Spieth. I mean, you got to go with
Texas
Jordan.
boy. I mean,
Now, Jordan's actually he's the most expensive this week.
Okay,
yeah,
he's
he's
at the very
from
top.
Texas.
So
he's
basically,
playing well. His form has
Your
just
super,
been
your
what's your other guys?
Your superfecta this week is going to be who I just picked.
Yeah, Jordan Spieth over everybody, right?
So you got a 70 to 1 odd, 80 to 1 odd, 100 to 1 odd, and the guy who's
And then the
4 to
favorite.
5.
That's a good play right
So-
there. You going to box him?
I'm going to key Jordan on top, and then I'm going to box the
You
bottom.
gonna box the bottom and will it?
Yeah, I'm a will key or will.
All
Jordan
right,
on
now
top.
everybody's gonna be tuning in right here, right now. Let's hear what cousin T.
All right, I'm going to take
Ridge
three.
Rock.
I'm going to take three guys. Now, if you guys remember, I gave you Gary Woodland before Gary Woodland was doing anything.
And I took him last week.
and Gary
and
Woodland played well. At the
He's
PGA
been at the
Championship.
top of the leaderboard since. So there's another guy. Now, I can't say he hasn't been in the mix because he has, but I think it's time for him to start being at the top 2-3, and that's Justin Rose. I think Justin Rose. Now, look, Justin Rose had a great Masters. Justin Rose had a great PGA Championship, but I think Justin Rose is going to be one of the guys you're going to
I
start
can't
seeing.
believe this.
All right, here's my other guy. Now, this one's going to cost you a little bit, but I think it's time for him to maybe win. Is Patrick Reed? I
Good
think
play.
I think Captain America's time for him to actually get a W. It's Ryder Cup time. He wants to be on that team. He's right outside looking in. I think it's time for Patrick Reed to be there. And then here's your long shot, Sahith Theegala. You ever heard of him?
Who?
Sahith Theegala. He is an Indian guy who's won everything you can win in college golf.
Yes.
He's won every award you can win in college
Right.
golf.
Where did he play college golf at?
Stanford probably.
Yeah, actually, I,
mean,
don't.
think
I don't even know, but
he
I'm gonna
was.
find out.
Yeah,
But you don't have to
But
look it
anyway,
up.
we don't have
Yeah.
to find out. I mean,
It probably
let's-
was Stanford. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great pick right there because again, this is not a long golf course. This is a golf course that where you're going to hit.
It's a dog track.
Yeah, it's a dog track.
Can't
I mean,
hit
you're
long on dog tracks.
Yeah, no, you can't
Unless you can curve it.
unless you could curve it, or unless you could just hit those
Yeah.
high bombs. I
Right
mean,
on, yeah.
Bryson DeChambeau
Right.
can hit those high bombs.
Oh, we played at Pepperdine. That's right.
Pepperdine. I knew it was in
well,
the Pac-10
all right.
or
Out in
you know,
Malibu,
wherever he's-
California, baby.
Yeah.
And to Joey's point, Snamsey did win an LPGA event. There was 15 players that
beat
played.
Becky Wright.
15.
Becky
Why? I guess it was a
That
promotional
was back
thing.
in the
He
day.
did it because he said, "Never mind, I'm not going."
No, no.
Oh man.
We are going for no mass editing productions from our
All right.
producer right
No,
here.
but seriously, play Sahith Thigala.
Right.
You can get him at a discount plan.
Thigala.
I like that. All
Forget
right.
it.
So I mean, it just kills me that Teague somehow
let me
looks
go
at my
last.
notes. He somehow looks at
Did
my
you-
notes.
Well,
And-
Rose, we know you got.
Well, I
You've
mean,
picked
you know,
Rose every
He
week.
does.
I
Pick
have
every
picked
week.
Rose every. I
It's
did
true.
not pick
And
him
that's the
last
only
week.
reason why he
I
did
did
it.
not pick him last week in another major championship. I have picked him every time I've ever done anything, and going right there. I mean, I was just like, you know what? I gotta hype up some Justin Rose this week, because here's
We're
the
gonna have
thing.
to start
He's
letting
a true
Teague go
shot.
last.
Yeah, well, everybody will wait for Teague to go last, but
right.
he's a true shot maker, and I mean, and he is playing well. He came off another great performance in
Yeah,
a major
he did.
championship, and and he's on the outside looking in on the Ryder Cup team. So going to Patrick Reed's pick, I mean, I think that Justin Rose is definitely the Euro to watch this week, as he went with the Patrick Reed as being the American to watch that wants to climb up the board. I am going to look at two plays right here and just taking out, because I was going to name drop Jordan Spieth as a Texas boy, but I'm going to let him go this week. I think that from Texas, Will Zalatoris.
Oh, yeah.
He is
Speaking
going to
of Happy Gilmore.
He is going to be a great play this
he was
week.
Cappy's
He
caddy.
knows how to curve the ball, but more importantly, how about this guy? 3 top 10s and 3 majors played.
I think
He's been incredible.
He is
There's only been
13th on the
17
Ryder Cup
golfers
list.
beat him in majors. This year
He's
or
on,
something like
he's 13th on the Ryder Cup points list, and when I looked that up, I couldn't believe his name was on there. I mean, this guy's only played in five tour events, 6 maybe, I don't know. But he is a Texas boy. He is somebody who's obviously playing well. He played well at the PGA Championship last week. I think that he is going to be a great play for
How
you.
expensive
And then
is this
I am
guy?
going to take. I'm going to go with a guy who's down the list maybe, and I don't know where. I don't know
in
where
the middle.
He's in the middle.
Zalatoris is kind of in the middle.
Another guy who's been playing just extremely well and is a good shot maker and is going to ply his way around this golf course is Abraham Answer. And you want to talk about a guy that, has been just balling on top of the leaderboards every week. Where's he at right there, Teague?
Answer is right where Zalatoris is, kind of right in the middle.
So there's another middle pick, and then I'm going to take my favorite this week, and I'm going to chalk Colin Morikawa.
You did call him Colin Montgomery earlier,
Yeah.
just to
Did I
go
really?
back. Yeah.
I love Colin Montgomery. Love Colin Montgomery. Morikawa. I mean, how can you not? I mean, again, sorry about that, Colin. I mean, he's basically coming off a top 10 at the PGA Championship. We discussed him whether he was going to make the cut or not. He hasn't been really playing up to form, but he gained form over there at the Ocean Course this past week. I like Colin to be on top of him.
And I tell you, he's a tough play for me because he's your third most expensive. So you got Spieth on top, Justin Thomas, who I really thought Justin Thomas was going to have a good PGA. I don't know what happened there, but and then Morikawa was third.
He got PGA. He got died. I mean, it's as simple as you could say. You
got
just
a lot
get
of tough bounces.
Yeah, you can get a lot of tough passes. And I mean, and one final thing going back to the PGA, and then we'll roll this thing out. Having played the Ocean Course, and I spoke of, my experiences there, if I had the crowds that they had on the side, and I would have never lost the ball there. It would have been a great day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Tour players, when they play in a tunnel. When they hit a bad shot, now, that fact was kind of proven a little bit last year for COVID. I mean, because there was no fans there,
Yeah.
and you could see them hit it all over the map. And I mean, they would have to take in. They were playing out of the weeds like this guy did, and this is the
How about that
greatest
picture?
greatest photo ever. But I promise you, if that's Josh Snyder's ball right there, we're not finding that when I was playing Kiowa.
This guy in the Masters hat looks like he's hiding from the law.
That's just because he has these shades on, bro. I mean, these shades either make you the law or
Yeah.
you have from the law. And tell me if that
That
is
is a
not
great- that is a
the
great
greatest photo ever in the history of golf. I'm putting it up there as my top 5. Maybe number 1.
No, Hogan's 1 iron, 2
Huh?
iron.
No,
Hogan's
I'm
1
going
iron
to say this
correct,
one
man.
right here. This is definitely top 5, but this is my
You
number
need that one on the wall
You
at,
did- so
at the
definitely-
TGA.
Hey, will they make a? It doesn't say Callaway anywhere, but will they make a big thing for you to hang up?
They already have one.
Let's roll out.
3 Jack National.
Golf course never invented.
Yeah.
Yeah.